Hi, and welcome to my guide on how to get Temple Armor in Guild Wars 2. Now, after you've clicked on this guide, one of two things has probably happened, based on how much knowledge you have. Either you clicked on this guide by chance, and you have no idea what Temple Armor actually is, or you clicked on this guide knowing exactly what it is, and you want to know how to get it. I'm going to be putting a timestamp right now on screen, and also I'm going to be splitting apart the playback bar into different sections, so if you want, you can go to the part where I go over the best ways to get the Temple Armor, and also I'm going to be going over how to actually get to the area where you buy the Temple Armor, which happens to be ore. Now, one quick disclaimer before we start. The methods I'm going to go over for how to get the Temple Armor, some of the best methods are going to include stuff from Living World Season 3, and generally that means that you might need, but you will need probably one of the expansions to get them. Like, I think you need Heartthorns for the Living World Season 3 stuff, and some of the Living World Season 4 stuff, you will need Path of Fire. So that's just a quick little disclaimer. Now, moving on, I'm going to put a quick cut in the video here, and go to a wiki article so I can explain to all of you who don't know what Temple Armor Temple Armor is in Guild Wars 2, or I can explain what it is. So I'll get back to you when I'm at the article. Okay, so here we are on the Guild Wars 2 wiki. It's an excellent source of information, and honestly a great place to visit if you're confused about almost anything in the game. The only thing I'd recommend that you be a little cautious about when it comes to the wiki is avoiding spoilers, because there are some sections which aren't labeled that well, and they kind of include spoilers for the story, even if you don't scroll down, and also it's really easy to scroll down because you want to keep reading. Anyway, moving on. So, what is Temple Armor? As you can see here, Temple Armor is the unofficial name for the exotic level 80 armor sets that can be purchased with karma from the temples and the narthex in the Cursed Shore. That may all sound like gibberish, so I'll break it down. So, Temple Armor is pretty much level 80 exotic armor. So, exotic armor is pretty much one grade below legendary armor, which is really, really hard to get and may involve raiding, and ascended armor, which is also kind of hard to get because if you go for the easiest route, which is crafting it, you will need a level 500 crafter, and it will also cost you mega gold, like a lot of money in this game. Level 80 exotic armor, especially this type of armor, is a very good alternative because you can get this for free. Free with quotation marks, because nearly everything you get in Guild Wars 2, it will need some form of currency. In this case, it's karma, and one set will cost you 252,000 karma. That may seem like a lot, but pretty soon I'm going to go over how to get the karma. I just need to cover some stuff first. So, like, for example, one of the first things I need to cover is what stats you can actually have for this armor. So, what I mean by stats are these attribute bonuses here. We're not going to be bothering about these here because those are just the trinket attribute bonuses, in other words, the superior runes. Runes are just like, well, there's 6 of them, and you select them in armor, and basically different runes can give you different bonuses. Like, I'll give you the really quick example here with the superior rune of Balthazar. I'll just middle click with my mouse here, and now we go over like the stuff it gives you. So, the superior rune of Balthazar is really good for a condition build because it'll give you, the first rune you have equipped will give you more condition damage, and as you have more runes equipped, the bonuses will stack. So the next thing it gives you is more burning duration, then more condition damage, then more burning duration, then even more condition damage, and the last one gives you burn duration and 10% more maximum health. So it's a little bit good for tanking, but this is mainly good for a condition build. And that's generally how the, runes work. The main thing we're going to be concentrating on right now, though, is the attribute bonuses. So these things here are the important stuff when you want to select what kind of armor you want, what Temple Armor set you want, because they come with these predefined selected stats. I don't think there's a way to change these, so make sure you select the right type when you're choosing this, and also make sure you actually want this type when you're choosing this, because I don't think you can shove these in the Mystic Forge and change them at all. So the types we have are Clerics, which is kind of a healing tanking build, good for healing tanking builds, because it's got power, which does more damage, which makes you do more damage, toughness, which increases your armor value, making you die less, and healing power, which increases how much you can heal yourself and others. Next, what we have is Rampages, which is generally good for, well, it's kind of a critical, good for critical and I guess a bit condition build, because it's got increased condition damage, precision, and power. And then, yeah, The rest are kind of self-explanatory now that I've explained that. Soldiers is just generally your kind of bit of tank slash power build. I'm sure if you're any good with builds, you can figure out this stuff and you're able to choose, and you'll be able to just choose whichever one of these stats you want. I don't want to go over it for a long time here, otherwise we'll be here for ages. This, by the way, is also what the armor looks like. So you can keep scrolling down and look at all the different types. So this is what it would look like on a female human. Then we have it for Azura, what it looks like on female Azura, and what it looks like on male Azura. And then we have the same for Char here. You can look this up yourself if you want. I'm not going to cover this too much because looks aren't really that important in the grand scheme of things. You're mainly getting this armor, in my opinion, I'm hoping you're mainly be getting this armor for the stats it provides, and not really the looks, because you could use transmutation charges to change it, because in my opinion, I don't really think many people would want to look like this kind of fashion disaster, in my opinion. Yeah, so now I've explained what temple armor is, and how much karma it costs, the next thing we're going to go over is how to actually get to the place that sells them. So I'll get right back to you in-game in just a moment. So here we are back in-game, and the first place you want to head in order to get to ore and even buy this armor in the first place, by the way, this is, as I said before, this will be split into different sections, so if you don't already know how to get to ore, if you already have all the waypoints unlocked, you can skip this in the YouTube playback bar thing. Feel free to go right ahead and skip it. Anyway, the first place we'll be going to is Lion's Arch. You've probably been there before. If you haven't gotten there, it's pretty simple. In fact, I'm just going to show you how to get there from a major city, if you haven't. So we're just going to exit this place here. This is my home instance. Just ignore the little icons on the map. There's a bunch of things I can harvest. We don't care about that right now. What we care about is getting to Lion's Arch. So, yeah, here we are in Radisum. This is one of the main cities, and pretty much all main cities are going to work very similar to Radisum, because all we are looking for is a single Azura gate that is kind of by itself. There's no, in some cities, like for example Radisum, there's some Azura gates which will be right next to each other. So you got like 3 of them over here, 3 of them over here, and we're going for the one over here with like the little green icon next to it because it's telling me my story mission, because I'm playing Suvari right now, is Awakening, so it's kind of telling me to go this way because this is the quickest way to get back to the Grove to do my story mission. So I'm actually using this little green icon here to get to Lion's Arch quickly. Don't worry about all this, by the way. It's Halloween at the time of recording this, so the loading screen is going to be a little different. It's going to be all spooky Halloween themed, and you're going to hear ghost howls and screams and whatever in Lion's Arch. We're just going to ignore all that because this is mainly just a quick old field trip to Ore. Because, yeah, that's where we're going. Just going to get on my mount and quickly bring up the map, because here we are now in Lion's Arch, now that we've gone from Radisum to here, and we're just trying to get down to here. Just take this bridge over here and exit down here because we're trying to get to the Bloodtide coast. I'm just going to skip to this waypoint because you don't need to see me going into the Bloodtide, going over there and going into the Bloodtide coast and, taking the long way around on my mount. I want to get through this guide and not take forever. That's my main goal here. Yeah, now it's going to be just a quick loading screen as you kind of load into the Bloodtide coast. If this takes too long, I'm going to put a quick cut in here and get back to you once the loading screen's finished. Good, it didn't take long at all. Yep, so next I'm just going to be using a skimmer here, and if you don't have a skimmer, just follow the same path I'm following right now, because skimmers, they get a movement increase when they go over the water, and if you don't have one, then swim. Just swim. It might take a lot longer if it takes you, it will take you a lot longer swimming if you don't have a skimmer like I do. But in that case, just pause the video occasionally so you can catch up. Yeah, so the place we're trying to get to, it's kind of just making a beeline, and we're trying to get down to this area generally. No, wait, yeah, this area right here. So it depends on what you're using and what the fastest method is of getting over. Because I'm on a skimmer, I'm actually going to be going over here across and just continuously trying to go across the water, because the skimmer is actually slower on land compared to being on the water, and there's so much water on the Bloodtide coast map that I'm like, well, I might as well take advantage of it. I might as well use the skimmer to kind of glide over all of it. If you don't have a skimmer though, then it's faster walking on land most of the time because of speed increasing abilities than it is swimming. So just go here and try and kind of weave your way through here, avoid the risen here, walk along the beach and get over here. You can see where I'm going with the skimmer though. So yeah, like I said before, if you have a skimmer, this is the faster way of doing it. Also, feel free to go and trek across Bloodtide Coast your way if you prefer fighting a bunch of enemies there, getting a bit of experience and getting loot. Go ahead and do that. If you prefer getting the waypoints like I am, go ahead and do that. If you prefer just not bothering about any of that stuff, just don't bother. It's your choice how you do this. Yep, so now it's pretty clear shot over here, and one of the tricks I like to actually do, well, because I'm on a skimmer, is, remember how I said it glides faster over water? Well, what I like to do is I like to make sure to angle it, so I'm continuously positioning it over this little kind of river inlet here, so that it constantly has the speed boost from going over the water, which is nice in my opinion. Yeah, and then once that's done, we just reach the next area, without any issues at all, called Sparkfly Fen. And Sparkfly Fen is, well, it's further southwards and closer to Ur, which is basically a land filled with heaps and heaps of zombies, or risen really. Basically, Zhaitan, one of the Elder Dragons, lived there. I'm not really spoiling too much at all, because I'm not even spoiling, like, what ends up happening to good old Zhaitan in, like, the original personal story. I'm not going to spoil any of that, so don't worry. But yeah, generally, the Sparkfly Fen will be filled with quite a bit of Risen for story reasons, and just lore reasons. You don't have to worry why they're there. You might just want to get a few undead killing potions. In fact, I think I have a few of them in my inventory right here. Yeah, these things here. Powerful potions of undead slaying. So these are very useful because you can only be used by level 80 characters, but I'm basically showing them off here because you would have to have a level 80 character to even want to do this in the first place and get the Temple armor, because like I said, it's level 80 exotic armor. You have to be level 80 to even wear this stuff. So yeah, you're going to be clicking on this guide if you're level 80. Yep, and I'm basically, as you can see, the path I'm taking is pretty straightforward. Just going across here, down here, and I'm not using a skimmer right now because, as I mentioned before, other mounts are way faster than the skimmer on land. The Raptor is actually, yeah, one of the mounts that's faster than it. I mean, I could be using the Roller Beetle and stuff here, but I just really like using the Raptor, and also this gives you kind of a good indication of where you should go. So yeah, we're trying to just head down to this waypoint. We're going to just ignore that screeching there. It was some sort of jungle raptor or something trying to knock me off my mount, but my mount's got way too much health. It could never do that. So here there's going to be just a short lake here, but it's shallow enough that it won't dismount. You can kind of get across it. Also, you could potentially use the skimmer here, but I wouldn't really think it's that useful on just a tiny bit of water right there. Yeah, and here we are. Just by following that path, you can, as you can see, avoid almost every enemy there. And then, once you've gotten to this, like, glowing kind of portal thing, you're good, because that's now we're on to the next map. The Straits of Devastation. This is already, like, the very start of war. This one gets a tiny little bit more, complicated when it comes to actually getting to the next map, because the temples where you buy the armor won't actually show up on this map. They show up on the next map, Malchor's Loop. Yeah, so the terrain may be a tiny little bit rocky here, but you can kind of just, well, ignore most of it and just get the waypoints over here. And what I recommend doing is kind of making a beeline down here and getting past here and getting this Thorn Pass waypoint, because it's right near Fort Trinity. Fort Trinity is important for story reasons. I won't spoil why it's here, just know it's a giant fort with friendly people inside of it. Yeah, and the reason why I'm recommending getting this waypoint is, let's say you die on this adventure and you need to respawn at a waypoint, you can just grab this one here and then immediately go to Fort Trinity, where it will have all the services you need. I think it even has a trading post. If you want to buy more undead slaying potions, it has an armor repair, and it has vendors in case you picked up a bunch of junk by killing stuff on the way here. Yeah, so just jumping over that bridge, but you can just kind of follow that same bridge there. And then getting this waypoint over here. And I could be using the skimmer here, but I'm mainly going to be covering the just more mundane way of getting across here, which is following these bridges. So you have first this one old rusty bridge here, and you may notice at this point that the land is slowly getting more and more decaying, starts looking like it's decaying more and more. That's because the influence of the Risen, which are basically the zombies here, are kind of causing, and the Zhaitan, the zombie Elder Dragon, is kind of causing the land to decay at the same time. Basically, it's just dragon magic, that's the reason. So as you get towards this bridge, the game will forcefully dismount you. This happens to everyone. Don't worry, it's not a glitch. Yeah, then you get across this bridge, and there's another waypoint you can go and kind of collect here. Occasionally, this area here will be blocked off by a bone wall. If that ever happens, you may need to wait a while, and there'll be an event here where you kind of break on through, and once you complete the event and start doing it, you'll be able to damage and hurt the bone wall, and then you and a bunch of friendly pact soldiers will blow through the bone wall, and you'll be all good to continue on through here. Maybe apparently that wasn't the right way through. I think the door actually will need to be opened. I'm actually just going to put a small cut in here and do the event to check if the door is opened that way. Okay, so I finished the event here, and I'm not sure if this is the actual case with, I'm not sure if this is the case with the event being done here. Like, I'm not sure if this enemy here spawns only after the event is being done, but it turned out in order to get through this door here, you kind of have to just pay attention to the visual cues of the map. And in this case, this enemy here is called a Risen Gatekeeper. So, like the smart little cookie I am, I went over to this enemy and was like, what if I kill the enemy because they are called a Gatekeeper? Could that mean that killing them possibly opens the gate? And as it turns out, yes, it did. It did open the gate. I was right. I was a smart little cookie. So, it's gonna be just, I'm guessing it won't be that hard to kill this enemy here. As you can see, they're kind of reducing my health a lot, and they have spawned this annoying Bone Seeker turret. But as soon as they're dead, as you can see, the gate opens. Also, it turns out that I was a little bit wrong, because on this map, the Straits of Devastation, there's actually the location of one of the first Temple armor sets. So you're pretty much already there. The only thing you're gonna have to do is make your way across a bit of this open ground with a few Risen near it. This waypoint here might sometimes be contested if there's a big old Risen Giant like there is now. And then the place we're looking for is the Cathedral of Victory, which is just right up here. Now, the unique thing about the Cathedral of Victory is that it can actually become contested. So the Risen can take it over. It kind of is like an event that acts a little bit like a war here. And you have to win the event here and not fail it and like not allow too many pact soldiers to die. Otherwise, the Risen will take over this area again, and this event will fail. And when this event area has been taken over by the Risen, these vendors up here you won't be able to purchase anything from them. They won't be here, and also the waypoint we just passed won't be there either. So yeah, so you just click this purple option, what do you have to offer me? And here is the first set of Temple armor you can buy, ready to grab whenever you want, when you have enough karma. So this set is the one with the Superior Rune of Balthazar, like I covered before, and it's also the critical and condition set. So it's got precision, condition damage, and power, which means you might be a little squishy when wearing it, so because you won't have that much defense. So yeah, that's pretty much the only cathedral on this map. So the next map we're going to try and get to is Malchor's Leap. And from here, it's actually really easy to get there. All you have to do is go off this bunch of temple stairs. And the reason why I'm laughing here is because, yes, I'm going off with a raptor, but I could just picture myself being like, right, off the temple steps we go, Geronimo, and just ordering my character, like, well, not ordering, but like moving them and causing them, making them jump, and just splattering on the bottom cliffs below. That's not what you want to do. Unless you want just a good laugh, and you're okay with paying waypoint fees, and okay with repairing the materials of your character. Yeah, in that case, feel free to do that. Yeah, so now that we're in Malchor's Leap, you want to grab this waypoint right here. It's called Paga's Waypoint, and the reason why is because there's a statue over here which you can harvest a bunch of trees at and then sell on the trading post to recoup some of your losses if this has cost you a lot of gold to get here through like waypoint fees and stuff. So, now that we're here and we've got this waypoint, we're just going to try and get over to this Cathedral of something and the Cathedral of Zephrys, which are two more of the places you can buy the Temple armor at. So the way I like to get there is kind of just go up this terrain here. It may be a little bit slanted, but mount or no mount, you will be able to just run up it normally as if you were running up a cliff. gw2 characters are surprisingly agile when it comes to like just scaling sheer cliffs. I know it would take me a lot longer and I'd have to like concentrate on not falling off, but no, they can like run and backflip up them with like ease and agility. It's kind of amazing, but then again I guess they have to be to make the game fun and like kind of them being an MMO character. In fact, nearly all MMO characters you play have, like, ridiculously high stamina. Although I find a lot of people kind of, well, not a lot of people, but some people complain in games when your stamina doesn't regenerate quickly enough, and I'm just thinking, these guys are way more fit than I am in real life. Well, guys and girls. Since you can usually play both genders in most MMOs. I say most because there are some Korean like MMOs, or Korean-based ones like Black Desert Online, where some classes are gender locked, so you can only play a male wizard. You can't play a female one. You can only like play a female witch. I never really understand that much. Like, I just like choice more, so I don't really have much to say or comment about it. Just the fact that it's there. I don't understand it really. That's all really. Yep. So, like I was saying before. There's a waypoint over here you can grab if you want, but this place often ends up being contested by Risen. So same thing as before. Why are you grabbing this waypoint instead of going right over to temples? This place here is how you get to the next map. That's why. We're grabbing the waypoint so you have an easy exit later on. If that waypoint isn't contested, then you can be like, oh, I found both temples in this map. I'm done with Malchor's Leap. Goodbye, Malchor's Leap. On we go to the Cursed Shore. But that's not coming up yet. Instead, we're going up to the Cathedral of Zephrys. Annoyingly, pretty much it's a running theme with these temples where you buy the armor at, that every single one of them can be contested. So this one can be contested as well, and you need to fight a champion statue of Dwayna. I mean, not champion, legendary. Yes, that's what I was trying to say, legendary. It's much tougher than the champion, and you may need multiple people to defeat it. So here we have the I guess the armor set of Dwayna. So this is the one with power, toughness, and healing power, and it also comes with the superior rune of Dwayna. It increases your regeneration duration and the maximum healing you have, and also 10% maximum health. I wouldn't actually recommend these if you're mainly going for a solo build for your character. What do I mean by a solo build? There are some builds in the game which are all focused about healing, and in that case, you'd want to be with friends, or if not friends, then at least acquaintances, or just random people you find on the map. You want people next to you, and the reason why is pretty simple. If you're outputting a lot of healing, you want people to be around to receive the healing. If you're outputting a lot of healing and you're the only person around, a lot of your healing abilities and spells, unless you can target them on the floor, like if there's just a single shot ability that doesn't stay around as an area effect on the floor, then you're not really benefiting from it too much, because if there are other people around, then you can heal them, especially if they are playing a much more tanky character, so they can tank all the damage and you can kind of sit in the back and constantly heal them, thereby kind of making them invincible. So I guess you can kind of see where I'm going with the logic from this. Yeah, so here we have the next temple, the Temple of Lyssa, I'm assuming. Oh yeah, it seems like that, because the actual runes here you can buy are the superior runes of Lyssa, which these are ones that I actually they could be I kind of recommend them for a solo build, because they increase your boon duration, which is buffs you can have on yourself, like the buffs that appear up here, like if you drink this, for example, that's a bunch of boons. Don't need to explain them right now, but just they're good things, but they run out after a certain amount of time. They're not more permanent stuff like the undead killing stuff potion I drank earlier in a food nourishment thing. Yeah, but the superior runes of Lyssa, they generally give you more precision, which is critical damage. I mean, a critical chance, not critical damage, and they also have give you condition duration right at the end. So it's kind of they're good for a condition/critical build. Anyway, we're now going to be using the tactic I talked about before, and teleporting to the waypoint we unlocked earlier, because the last place we're going is the Cursed Shore. So let me just reorient myself, and yeah, just going over here. And once you get across this bridge, you are at the Cursed Shore, easy peasy. Well, maybe not that easy peasy if you're really struggling to kill the Risen along the way, especially if like you're trying to get here early. Like, it actually is possible. Let's say you had like a level 60 character, you could try and get here early to you could try and get to this place early, so you have all the waypoints unlocked, so then you can, when you find level 80, you can unlock the armor, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. I nearly always get a character up to at least like level 78 before I start trying to trek across here. So, like last time, one of the first waypoints we'll be getting is the R&D, which stands for Research and Development, if you didn't know that, waypoint over here. And then since I have a raptor, oh wait, no, it might not be it, it's actually the Cure Shadowfane waypoint. But you want to get it anyway. You want to get a lot of waypoints on this map, because this is like one of pretty much the last ore map, so it's one of the most deadly as well. And you can actually kind of see where some of the places we're going are. So that over here is actually one of the temples we're going to, because you can see the Karma Merchant icon. It's the little purple triangle. So here, if you happen to have a raptor, great news is if you got the long jump ability, you can kind of just leap over the water and not give a damn about getting on your skimmer. Or you could be potentially getting on your skimmer if you have it right now, and just, well, going across the water. And I've actually gone the wrong way because there's this giant maze over here. Don't worry about going inside the maze. You're trying to just skirt around it here. I went the wrong way, I'm saying there, because I was kind of blocked off between, well, the equivalent of a rock and a hard place, except in this case it was mainly just water that was blocking me off. Water and a maze. That sounds so much more lamer than water, a rock and a hard place. Just, what are you blocked off by? Ah, water and a maze. What, you mean like a glass of water? No, like a pond. And they're like, what? Just a pond? That was all blocking you? Yep. So here we have Lightbringer Surefoot. You can just talk to her, and she offers you precision healing, precision vitality, and healing power. So this is kind of like a crit and also healing. I guess it's kind of a tank crit build, a bit of a weird one. And then the runes you get with it are superior runes of Melandru, which give you vitality, toughness, and less incoming condition duration, and more toughness and less incoming stun duration on you when the enemies hit you, and more reduced stun duration on you again. So they are runes of Melandru. Honestly, are some of my favorites. I use them in quite a few tank builds, or at least if I don't use them, I often consider them when I'm buying runes off the trading post. So now that we've gotten there, the next place we're going to is across the water here. So again, I'm going to be using my skimmer. If you don't have a skimmer, swim. Okay, the reason why there's all of a sudden a really sharp cut in the video here is because I done something you shouldn't do. Don't do this. I went the wrong way. Went all the way around up there and I had to come back. That's not the way you want to go for the next temple. It's down here instead. So yeah, off I go. I can of course talk about the things I was talking about while I was bumbling around like a complete fool. And that is basically I was talking about signets and movement increases. So, for example, there's the signet of the Locust for the Necromancer. If you have it just passively equipped, for example, if you select it and have it on your hotbar, like this hotbar here, then the signet will constantly provide you with a movement increase. However, the movement increase will only really activate when you're underwater. So you have to weigh your options, because sometimes going underwater is not the best choice. Why? Well, as soon as an enemy strikes you, you start to slow down when you're because that's just how Guild Wars 2 works. That's combat. So there are a lot of risen and other things that, like I guess, spirits of anguish and stuff in this place, the Cursed Shore, and a lot of them are underwater. So you have to kind of think, do I want to activate my signet of the Locust and go underwater? They're like giving me a faster swim speed increase, or do I want to stay above the water on the water's surface, thereby avoiding most of the risen, which can potentially hit me and could potentially slow me down? Yeah, so just run it over in your head, kind of do the math, and figure out also what you're better at. If you're really good at avoiding enemies, the second option may be better. This place also can be potentially contested, but don't worry, because people usually like to clear this place a lot, because it has Berserker armor for sale. What is Berserker armor? Well, it's got the Berserker stats. So it's got power, precision, and ferocity. It's pretty much power, critical chance, and then critical damage. And then the runes here, it's got runes of Grenth. So that's condition damage, chill duration, condition damage, chill duration again. And also you chill foes after using a healing skill. So it's like great for Necromancer and stuff like that. You may want to switch it out if you're not playing a Necromancer. But yeah, this place will more often than not get cleared, because Berserker armor is what a lot of people love to use, because they love to do really high amounts of damage and burst down enemies like that, and then kill the enemy fast, thereby not letting the enemy do damage to them. That's kind of philosophy a lot of Guild Wars 2 players go by. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's all of the cathedrals here. I mean, like temples here. These other two places, that's a Karma Merchant. It's just, wait. No, I'm just going to go there. I'm going to put a quick cut in and get back to you once I'm there, because that is the entrance to Arah, one of the dungeons in this game, and I can't remember if they sell armor or not, so I'm going to go there and get back to you once I'm there to find out. Okay, so here we are, very close to the dungeon, very close to Arah, and I've actually started recording now, because even though I'm not there yet, there's an event happening here which is very, very important to pay attention to. And the reason why is because this thing here, the Gates of Arah, you want to listen to what this thing says here. So, there are 3 separate states the Gates of Arah can be in. One of them is the path controls the Gates of Arah. If that's the case, then you're fine to just go in here and, well, buy your armor and everything is cool. If it says that the Risen, or like Zaitan's forces control the Gates of Arah, don't go here. It will be filled with so many enemies that the toughest level 80 in legendary armor probably won't be able to go and, well, buy anything, because most likely the NPCs there will also be dead thanks to being killed by Risen. In fact, there. Warmaster Benson, I'm just reading the name here, he's dead. He's dead on the floor right now because the Risen whooped his ass. In fact, this Risen High Wizard whooped his ass. And then another state you can be in is this state, which is defend the Gates of Arah. So if that ever happens, then, well, kind of like the thing says, if you want your armor, you're going to need to defend the Gates of Arah. As you can see here, there's not too many of us players here, but since we kind of know what we're doing, I say kind of because I'm kind of just spamming my flamethrower here and trying to melt all the Risen, melt their little faces off. We're pretty much we are defeating this Risen Wizard, and he'll be dead pretty soon. I'm pretty sure that this is the last boss in a kind of chain of events that you need to defend the Gates of Arah with, and once he's dead, I'm pretty sure that they'll go back under pact control. Ah! Okay, now I see what's going on. Yeah, so now that the Risen Wizard is dead, the Risen have launched an all-out assault on the Gates of Arah, and they will keep coming until this time limit here is over. So yeah, that's when the Risen reinforcements are exhausted, and it's pretty simple. All you have to do is defeat the Risen continuously until they well, they kind of run out of bodies to send at you, at which point that's what kind of the time running out represents. The good news, however, is that these are all level 80 and level 70 Risen, so the loot they drop is some good shit. However, you don't need to see me defending the gates for an entire 6 minutes, so I'm gonna get back to you once the gates are defended and we can actually check out what kind of loot the Arah dungeon sells. And if it doesn't sell loot, I'm gonna be mentally kicking myself and removing this part from the video so you won't even have to see it. Okay, here we are after the small cut, and the reason why I'm kind of laughing here is because I checked Warmaster Benson, and apparently, yes, he does sell some temple armor, even though this place isn't a temple. I guess maybe you can kind of count the Dungeon of Arah as a temple, I guess. But the thing I find funny is that he sells it with a soldier stats, which it's not the worst combination out there. It's just a combination hardly any people use, and it's one of my most disliked because, well, it's just power, toughness, and vitality. You don't really have any options for, doing anything different, like upping your condition damage or critical damage, and it feels kind of really generic. Also, but the Rune of Infiltration is good, but there isn't any real good way to pry it out the armor, sadly. The Rune of Infiltration is power precision, more power precision, and then deal increased damage to enemies below 50% health, 10% more damage. So it's a really good rune for in general just dealing damage. Even though it's called the Rune of Infiltration, it doesn't have to be for thieves. The other real quick thing I want to cover is look at all this. From doing that 6-minute long event, I got some fat loot, and in my opinion, this place is kind of worth it when it comes to, well, just in general, doing that event. I'm glad I stuck around for the entire 6 minutes. There were just so many Risen to kill, and I got so much loot in the end. Anyway, now that all the locations of the temple armors are covered. Okay, so this wasn't originally planned, but this video is going on for long enough, so I've decided I'm going to be splitting this into 2 videos. This video about how to get temple armor will end right here, right now, because I've shown you how to get to the temples and get the armor. The other segment, which I had already recorded, which is all about how to get the karma for the temple armor, will be split into its own video about how to get karma, so this video doesn't go on for an absurdly long time, because the one about gathering karma is long enough. Anyway, that's all for this. That's all I really wanted to say. This means that this video is over at this point. Thanks for watching this if you have all the way to the end, and I hope you join me for the next video if you want to get karma for your temple armor. If you already have enough karma to buy the temple armor, go ahead and buy it and enjoy your shiny new armor. And last of all, thanks for watching this.